And when we looked at our second half of life, it was like, well, what is this part going to be about? And do we need all this stuff to bring it into the second half of life? Or can we make our second half of life a little lighter? And that's how we started getting rid of stuff, downsizing, downshifting, and really starting to plan what that would look like for us for the next 50 years.
Well, welcome everyone. And talk about stress prevention. This couple that we're having on the show today has set themselves up for a stress-free living in paradise for the second half of their lives. They have decided to quit the grind and retire early on the beautiful Portuguese island of Madeira. I am joined today by a beautiful couple, and I can't wait to start this conversation about how they pulled off this fantastic feat. Doug and Monique, welcome to the Stress-Free Diet Podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us. Here.
Yeah. and you guys have this great YouTube channel, which is binge-worthy because I know I've binged it. First of all, tell people where you can be found.
We are on YouTube. Our channel is called Track Us Down. And we're also on Instagram under track_us_down_.
That's awesome. So this is a great question. You guys are not 70 years old. You're a lot younger. And what made you sell everything? Now, just think about that, folks. Sell everything. You spend your whole life accumulating things.
That's right.
Knickknacks, furniture, treasures, whatever. You sold everything and you moved to Madeira.
Do you want to start?
Well, I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. And a lot of it goes back to a world trip that we took back when our boys were 7 and 10 years old, and we were about 35 years old. And we had one backpack each, and we took them out of school and went around the world for a 1-year trip, covering about, 29 or 30 countries. And we learned on that trip how easy it was to move around and see the world when you just had one pack to look after. And we kind of did some other trips after that where we just had one small pack. And that has always stuck with us, was how easy it is to move around and travel and live when you just have kind of a minimal amount of things to look after. And of course, like you said, when you see your house over 25 years accumulating with all the things that you normally accumulate over those years, it just becomes visual clutter and mental clutter, and getting rid of all that was the best thing I think we've done in a long time.
Right. And just thinking about, we were both working careers that we both loved, and we really do feel like, both policing and teaching has contributed to society. So we felt a sense of purpose in that. And when we looked at our second half of life, it was like, well, what is this part going to be about? And do we need all this stuff to bring it into the second half of life? Or can we make our second half of life a little lighter? And that's how we started getting rid of stuff, downsizing, downshifting, and really starting to plan what that would look like for us for the next 50 years.
And I want to add to that too. As we got rid of everything, there's a real joy and acceleration of getting rid of everything. It brought as much joy as we had from accumulating it all. Just that impending sense of freedom that just grew and grew and grew as we got rid of all our stuff.
Totally.
That's awesome. And there are a lot of people who go into minimalism. I mean, they wear the same color shirt every day, the same, Steve Jobs as an example. Yeah. They do it because they want less stress in their life. So you took like minimalism and like put it on steroids.
Well, I don't wear the same outfit every day.
No, I don't mean that, but that purging of, just go, that's just like, but this whole show is about having less stress in your life. So by doing what you did, it was literally, you just cut ties with all these things and just, you're not possessed by your possessions, which is pretty awesome.
Exactly.
And it's funny because it's hard to even remember all the things that we had. We don't miss anything. So sometimes we'll try and think back and go, oh yeah, we had that. Oh, well, and we moved on. Like it's not.
And what's that one thing you always say about, do you own your possessions or do they own you?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm sure your family and your friends said, you guys are crazy, and I've often learned that, and my wife and I have done some crazy things, air quotes, in our life. And usually people who say that are part of the natural stressed out environment. Mm-hmm. So yes, like one time I got rid of my TV and didn't have a TV for like 3 years. And everyone said I was crazy. I'm like, this is the greatest thing I ever did. So, but everyone else does it. So what did people say to you?
Well, I think we started off sort of with the motto, loose lips sink ships. We were very cautious on how we sort of spread the news, and did that sort of in little bit of stages. And we were also leaving our jobs, which was a big deal, right? We were 50, which is very early to retire. So we just treaded very lightly and just shared bits and pieces of information.
Especially with family, you want to kind of break it to them gently, because if you just told them we're selling everything and moving to the other side of the world,
it sounds crazy.
It does. But I'll tell you, with colleagues and friends, there was a mix of shock and I think inspiration as well, because people like to see other people succeeding. It gives them hope and inspiration for their second half of life, for their retirement. So I think more so for friends and colleagues, it was really inspirational. You do get some people who I think who are overly defined by their work, who ask that natural question, well, what are you going to do every day? You're going to be bored and sit around. And that has not been the case. But now family, for sure, they are 100% behind us, as they've always been. And I think really excited about the things that we're doing every day and where we're going.
And our boys were sort of part of the journey from the beginning. So with our two sons who are adults, they knew every step of the way. And they were excited for us. And I think it set a good example for them that, life doesn't end when you get middle-aged or older or retired. There's a whole bunch of life to be lived. And that's what we're doing. And it's definitely a life with much less stress, for sure.
And what I've learned about Madeira, and folks, you need to check out their channel, track us down, but it's paradise. And I was telling them before, it's basically the best way to describe it as far as I can tell, because I've never been there, but it's a merge of Hawaii, Bermuda, and Italy's Amalfi Coast. If you could describe just why Madeira, of all places, and what it's like to live there.
Why Madeira? I think, what we talked about earlier was when you're looking to retire somewhere, you look for safety, you look for stability, you look for climate. We always wanted warm weather, and just something that, a great place to live outdoors. And Madeira checked all those boxes for us. But visually, it is stunning. We call it heaven on earth, because they call it the land of perpetual spring and summer. And it really is. There's a microclimate around every corner, every valley, and it could be sunny and hot in Funchal. And you go to the other side of the island or up into the mountains, and it's misty and just kind of enchanting. And so you get a little bit of everything any day you want. You just kind of pick and see where the weather is. We go swimming in December, in January. We can live a life of kind of outdoors all the time, which we've always wanted to do, instead of being bound inside by extreme cold or snow or anything else like that. And
in terms of de-stressing here on the island, part of what I think is important in life is seeing beauty. And, when you're inside for 6-8 months of the year, you're seeing your house, but you're not really seeing nature. And here the nature is incredible, whether that's, like Doug said, the ocean, the flowers, heading up to the mountains and hiking is beautiful. You're surrounded by beauty constantly, and it's so nice. And speaking of beauty and flowers, it is like a world site of all different flowers and trees here. We use an app that we love called Picture This, and there's other ones like it, but you can snap a picture of anything, a plant or a tree, and I think even animals, and it does a quick scan and it tells you what you're looking at, and which is really nice, because we're out for a hike and we can identify all the things we're looking at. What we've learned is they have plants and trees from South Africa. They have them from South America. They have them from all over the world. It's like a huge world environment of different trees. And in fact, we've never been into plants and trees. No, but the main park downtown, Santa Catarina Park, they have little placards in all the trees. And it is just a world expo of all different types of trees growing together in one happy environment. It's really neat. Yeah. And the bowl itself, like Funchal Bowl, with the buildings, all the terracotta roofs and the streets that wind. I think that's why you get that Amalfi Coast vibe, is definitely gorgeous. And the middle of the island looks like Hawaii, where looks like Jurassic Park was filmed. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, that's why. And there's a thing called nature bathing. So when you're in nature, it de-stresses your body. Yeah. It's not just going, feel that. Oh no. And good luck for you. I mean, thank God for what you guys are doing. I think you picked the perfect place, and I can't wait to go visit there. And so when you're living in a beautiful place and the climate and the people, I mean, that's stress relief right there. Stress prevention, which is even better. Yeah. So
It is. And you know, beyond that, if you're talking about no stress, and I think this is big for people coming from the United States and from Canada and those kind of countries where there's a lot of unrest right now, there is no crime here. And it's so funny saying that because it sounds so cliche or exaggerated, but literally beyond maybe some petty crime that you never hear about, there is no crime. You can walk around at any hour and feel completely safe. And I think that is the biggest change that we've experienced. One, coming from my profession, but just coming from North America in general, you always feel safe here. Everybody is nice. And we always joke that I think we're the scariest things on the island. There's nothing poisonous. There's nothing that wants to eat you. Yeah. And the people are just genuinely friendly and family oriented.
Yeah.
And just being in an environment like that creates a great situation to not have stress. And Absolutely. Stress is the number one killer. And so why not live someplace and have a lifestyle that is contributed by it? So you live in paradise, you're not working, although you do work on your YouTube channel. And
sure.
And I know how much work that goes into that. And you guys do a great job. Your editing is phenomenal. Your scripting is wonderful. Well, your scripting is wonderful. And you guys have this, there's a lot of YouTube couples out there, but you guys have this synergy. Like you could be talking about sawdust and I think it would be compelling.
I don't know about sawdust.
well, just folks, you need to check them out. So, what's your daily life, stress-free life like each day in Madeira?
Well, we shared our morning routine on our YouTube channel. So we do love the morning, and Doug often goes for a run. We definitely walk a lot because we do have a dog, which I think you saw earlier in the video, Leo. So we walk every day. We do as much hiking as we can. We're so close where we live on the side of the mountain. We can head up to the mountain in 5 to 10 minutes or down to the ocean in 5 to 10 minutes. So we really have options every day. But a lot of life too is just daily living. We do, hang out in our villa and do laundry and cook and that kind of stuff as well. So, but
literally, there's not enough time in the day.
There's never enough time.
One of the great things about retiring is that you can try different things and reinvent your abilities and skills. Monique's taking tennis lessons, and she had never played before. I'm enhancing my tennis. We can go swimming more. As far as the running, I've been learning about kind of more heart zone training so I can have time to dedicate to that. As far as the running, there's just something to do.
And cooking new things. We've been, we have time to research recipes or try and make something new. And yeah, it's been really great. Our daily lives are full, and,
we often find saying, where did the day go?
Yeah.
I can't believe it's 7 o'clock at night already. And the view changes. We wake up with a morning view. It's a great view during the day, and at night, just watching the lights of Funchal light up. And it's like a big painting.
It makes your heart relax walking out on our terrace and looking at the lights of Funchal twinkling in the ocean in the background. And now that it's fall, we see cruise ships coming in. Oh, yeah. So you see ships on water. It's just soothing.
Very soothing.
Well, speaking of your great view, which is I wouldn't call it, I would call it $1 billion view. Folks, you have to watch your channel to see the view they have. But you bought a house, you started renting it, and you bought Villa Dos, right? Is that correct?
We named it.
Yeah.
And just briefly describe, if you could, what your house is like. And also its power, is it solar powered?
It is. It has solar power that contributes to reduce our electricity bill, and we can add to our panels if we want. We'd like in the future to maybe go completely solar, but it really brings down any cost. We don't find it that expensive to begin with, and we're talking utilities in general are very affordable here, much more so than North America. So yeah, we have solar, which makes us feel good, but we're solar powered as well, to be able to walk out onto our terrace and feel the warmth of the sun year round.
Yeah.
We were very lucky to find our villa. It's getting harder and harder all the time with the amount of people coming in. And really we would like to have access to the mountains, and we'd like to have access to the ocean. And I feel like we lucked out and we struck the perfect chord. We're 9 minutes from the mountains, and we're about 5-minute drive from the water. So we can go either way and enjoy both.
Yeah. So it's a 2-bedroom. We have 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a dining room, and a living room. But what's really nice about this place is we have the front terrace, which overlooks the Funchal Bowl. And we also have a little back courtyard that's kind of private, where we have a sink out there. it's not really a villa traditionally, I guess, for the word. It's more of a townhouse because we are attached to other people, but we've had a chance to meet Portuguese neighbors and get to know sort of more local people, which is really, really nice. We sort of feel like we're a little local now.
It's our villa. We really enjoy it.
And then roughly, now you have this villa that overlooks the harbor. It's $1 million view, like I said. And roughly how much did you pay for this?
So we paid 290,000 euros, which I guess now is equivalent to 290,000 US dollars.
Yep.
And, we say that within the year, we may have been priced out of the market, certainly for a place like this on our budget, because we're not very rich in any sense. We're living on a pension, just my pension right now, and Monique will have access to her pension in a few years. And that's something that we really want to stress, is that we're average people, and we want to inspire and encourage average people who have worked hard their entire lives and are looking for a better way to retire. You don't have to have millions and millions to enjoy a life like here in Funchal. If you've worked hard and you want a better second half of life, this is the place, certainly a place to consider.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for that 290,000 euros, we also got the place completely furnished. So we did make that offer for all the furnishings to be here because, as you know, we sold everything. So we were renting a furnished apartment and we asked for everything to be included. So, it was kind of neat. We got a fully furnished. We kind of think of it like an Airbnb kind of thing. All the furniture here belongs to Villa Dos. It's not us accumulating more things. You do need things to live. You need a sofa, you need a dining room or somewhere to eat and dishes and that kind of thing. But it belongs to Villa Dos. So for now, this is our place, and we're really, really happy here.
Folks, check it out. It's an amazing house tour. So a lot of people, especially in North America, especially in the United States, we have this weird thing. You have your healthcare through your job. And I'm old enough to remember that if you didn't have your healthcare from your job, I've had my own business for like over 20 years. So when I used to go get my own healthcare, it was a couple $100 at the most a month. And then with the Affordable Care Act, which is really not affordable, made it Unaffordable Care Act, it's now over $1,000 a month per person. So if a couple wants to retire, you're looking at easily $2,000 a month for premiums. And then you're going to get some really ridiculous high $12,000 deductible. So basically, it's just, so a lot of people think, well, we can't retire early because we've got to stay working so we can afford our health care. So a lot of people are thinking, well, and the United States has the best health care in the world, and that's because it's so expensive, but that's not true, is it?
It isn't, no.
So first of all, tell us about Portugal's healthcare compared to the United States, cost-wise and quality.
Let's start with, you can go on different sites, and I think the numbers vary depending on the year and stuff, but Portugal, I think, ranks I think it was 12th the last time I looked on.
As low as 3 and as high as 12.
As low as 3, as high as 12. And the United States is way past that. I think it was 30 something or whatever. So you can definitely see that Portugal has amazing healthcare. It's also universal healthcare here. So as a resident, we have access to their healthcare system. So when we applied for our visa to come here, we did need to apply for private healthcare, and we did. And we were paying, I think, 40 euros a month for two of us.
For 2 of us, 20 euros each.
And we were applying as 50-year-olds who don't smoke and we don't have any underlying health conditions. So that would vary.
I don't think it goes up much though.
No, it wasn't much. But beyond that, once you are a resident here and paying taxes and live here, we have access to the regular healthcare system now, and that's what we're doing.
We dropped our private healthcare. They actually have a dual healthcare system, so you could have private if you want. And I think a lot of, especially Americans who are used to having private healthcare, they think they need that. Yeah. We've talked to Americans in their 70s.
Yeah, that one couple.
Very inspiring. They retired and came here. They had private healthcare to begin with, and the lady had a heart event and called an ambulance. It was a heart attack of sorts, and they were diverted to the public hospital, because that is the biggest network. And they've since dropped their private healthcare because they didn't need to spend over $100 each a month on a premium. when the public healthcare is so good here.
Yeah.
They're very attentive. You have, you don't wait that long. The hospitals are very clean.
Yeah.
I mean, we went into the private healthcare. We needed a physical for our Portuguese driver's license. And at the time we still had private healthcare, and it was like a spaceship inside. It was so clean and polished. So if you wanted to keep paying those premiums, you could. It's a great system, but their public system is great. They're actually well known for their healthcare system, and they're actually building a massive university learning hospital here on Madeira.
Teaching hospital.
Hospital.
Yeah.
So healthcare is fantastic here. We have no worries about it at all.
No concerns. Yeah. And I mean, when you buy private healthcare here, what you get is access to the private hospitals. And there is we did a whole video on this on our channel, but there's a lot of debate because some people feel that public healthcare is even better than the private because there's much more like a tightly knit network between the public hospitals. So for example, for cancer treatment and all that, it's all in the public hospital. If you have a heart attack, you get taken to the public hospital, regardless if you have that private insurance. So, it's really universal healthcare for all. So it's a great system.
And really good healthcare.
And that takes away a lot of stress knowing that, you're in a place where it's high quality and very affordable. I mean, if you're spending $2,000 a month as a couple for health insurance, that you're going to be stressed out financially just that alone.
Exactly.
So yes, you folks, you can. It's a great option, and like you said, it's safe. It's rated like I think 3 out of. It's like the 3rd safest country in the world.
It's only beat by Portugal in general is only beat by I think Iceland and New Zealand, both islands.
Right. Yeah.
And USA is like 58. So yeah, it's a lot safer. So again, walking around not feeling like you're threatened or
Never.
That just overall feeling of less stress.
Absolutely.
You're not like
your valuables lying around here, and we've seen it so many times, and that's people talk about it all the time at the gym or restaurants. They leave their wallets out, their keys out, and you're never worried about somebody coming by and swiping your phone or anything like that.
Yeah, it's got a different feel for sure. Just when you see people shopping or they're at a cafe, they'll leave their purse on the table and head on to the washroom and then go pay and come back. And they've left it there. I mean, we would never do that back in North America. You're always kind of like keeping your eye on your belongings.
For sure.
And definitely we've let down a little.
Oh, a lot,
yeah, I'm sure. So you're living in paradise. That's great. But if you're in paradise and the people are all tense and stressed out, it's not still paradise. So what are the people like there? Like, what is the atmosphere? How's the Portuguese people and all the expats there? What is it like living with them? Are they stressed out? Or are they just totally island vibe?
Portuguese people are not stressed out. They have an easygoing way about them. They have very much a cafe lifestyle. They start their mornings with a small cappuccino or a small bica, which is like an espresso. There's cafes everywhere, and they're very family oriented. On the weekend, they're at festivals and out at the beach or hiking. There's lots of bicycling clubs, running clubs, you name it. They're just always eating. Their dinners are very long and drawn out.
They like to socialize. We see a lot of socializing, whether it's families or friends, and the expats who come here from all the different places. I mean, there's from North America, but also a lot of people from Germany and from other places, France. We hear a lot of French, South Africa, England. I think they're all coming looking for the same thing. They're coming here to join a culture and a way of life that's more laid back. So definitely get a good vibe from everybody.
And we are very, determined not to bring any expectations with us of how we want things to be here. We're very much adopting their way of life here locally. We're trying to learn the language. And when you get to meet the locals here, they just open up and they're so friendly and they want to help you. And they're very stylish, the way they dress, and
again, the beauty. Everything's very well done. Yeah.
That's awesome. And now another thing is that about the stress-free diet is it's not just reducing stress, but eating healthy foods. Mm-hmm. So in North America, you can go to the store, you can buy even organic foods and pay a little bit more, but they still don't have any taste or any flavor. And it kind of makes you like, where are these grown in concrete or something?
Yes.
So how is the food quality and the cost of food
Okay,
on
well,
the
I will
island.
start with the quality because Madeira does grow many fruits and vegetables. We're a beautiful island. It's a subtropical, so sweet potatoes, avocados, bananas, they're very well known for those kind of things. And I mean, we go blackberry picking, all the berries are available. So all that is grown here locally. So obviously it's very, very tasty and very easily to access. Whether you go to the supermarket, they have the Madeiran produce, or you can go for a drive in the mountains on a Sunday and people are selling their wares just on the side of the road and you can pick it up that way. But we eat a plant-based diet. So that is what we primarily eat. And we have easy access to pretty much everything we've ever wanted.
Definitely. There's fruits and vegetables we've never seen before and never heard about. So we're learning new ways of cooking these things, and it opens up a whole new world. And like Monique said, we've been plant-based now for just shy of 10 years. And one of the things we were wondering if you could find that here. Well, of course you can find it in nature everywhere, but in the restaurants, every restaurant has some form of option for plant-based and more. And it's delicious.
Yeah. Every restaurant does have a vegetarian option or a vegan option. And we're finding eating here really great. And in terms of cost, our monthly average food bill is about 400 euros.
I think some people in America pay that once a week.
Right.
Well, yeah, for sure. Back home, especially when we had our two sons, we were definitely paying close to that every week for food. So a huge lowering in that area.
But Madeira is known for their food as well, and they roast their meat. You can smell the wood burning fires everywhere. Their seafood is phenomenal. So there's something here for everybody, and there's always great smells everywhere cooking food.
No matter what you're looking for.
Yeah, I've been plant-based for I think 3 years, and I love it. I don't know if it's for everybody, but it certainly works for me. I have tons of energy, even in I'm halfway to 70, so or more than halfway to 70, and so I think it's a great way to go, at least for me. And I think a lot of people ought to give it a try. So you've described this peaceful, wonderful, stress-free paradise, but it's another country. So how easy is Portugal to move to? Because some countries are not very easy to move to, and some countries are hard. But how easy is Portugal to move to?
Well, they certainly encourage retirees. They're encouraging digital nomads, which is a big thing right now. They're building communities for digital nomads. They have phenomenal Wi-Fi and internet here for an island. I was surprised, but very fast, very affordable compared to North America. So like any country, there's a process. We're applying for and trying for the non-habitual residence, the NHR program for retirees. You start out on a D7 visa. Like any country, there's the paperwork to fill out. Monique and I took a very determined and methodical approach, step by step. We did our research and we just filled out the applications and the process step by step, made sure we had it right, and we had no problems at all. We didn't pay a consulting firm. We didn't spend thousands on that, because you can do it yourself. If you just read the instructions and go step by step, it's actually quite easy, and it takes a bit of time.
So the D7 that Doug's talking about, that is a passive income. So it's either a retirement, a pension, or a passive income. You have to show that you have money to live, that you're not coming here to work. So that is what we're here on. And once here, they give you an appointment at the CEF department, their government agency, where you go and you apply to be a resident. And 2 months after we were here, we did that. And so now we're temporary residents.
Right. And that program is good for 10 years.
Yeah.
And in that 10 years, we can apply for citizenship.
Yeah, I think after 5 years you can.
Right.
That's right.
Our language skills have to go up a little though.
Right. Yeah. And then I think during those 10 years of the NHR, the percent you're paying tax is much lower.
Right.
10%.
10%.
Yeah. Which is a very inexpensive price. And then also people are real, okay, I'm paying, but you still have to pay US taxes, but there's a tax treaty.
That's right.
You're not double taxed.
No, you're not double taxed.
So if you paid in Portugal, you can subtract it from the US.
Well, you pay the US, and then you probably won't pay in Portugal unless you pay 9% in the US, then you would still owe Portugal the 1.
Right. But the point I'm making is you're not double taxed.
Nope.
No. And sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and you're exactly right. That's a concern people have. Like taxes you can't get away from them. We've met with a tax accountant here because we're in our first year of kind of that crossover year of paying a bit of taxes here and a bit of taxes back in North America. So we have to figure out going forward who we're paying and how much we're paying. And of course, that's a cause of stress always is tax, but we'll figure it out and we're not too worried about it.
One thing at a time.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, you're just, you see, you're just in that island, we'll get to it eventually,
Yes.
Yeah, it all gets sorted out.
compared to like, no, we have to do it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember real quick. My dad was always like this high energy type person, very successful, very smart. And he asked me to go to this warehouse club in Connecticut where we were living there at the time. And I said, sure. So we go into it together. It was called, I don't know what it was, a warehouse club. So I see this display at the beginning of the warehouse club. I'm looking at it, and off in the distance, I see this maniac with his cart, like going zoom, 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 zoom. And then next thing you know, like he's up at the register paying. I'm like, I got my list. All my items on my list are done. I'm like, I love my dad. I'm just like saying, but, and I became like that too. Like, everything's a challenge. You got to get it done. And we're just staying in a stress response is extremely unhealthy. So yeah, having that island vibe, the cafe culture where they don't just stop and get a cup of coffee on the go. They have a cup of coffee with a friend.
There is no coffee on the go.
No.
You literally will not see anyone with a to-go cup anywhere.
But that tells you a lot right there. And in the United States, they're all over the place.
For sure.
Yeah. They're drinking coffee to keep their stress response going compared to they're drinking coffee to de-stress.
Exactly.
Absolutely, to relax. And you make a very good point. It's something that we've been working on and learning here is our Portuguese patience.
Yeah, we call it Portuguese patience. It's an actual thing.
If you're in a long lineup at the grocery store and there's a child crying and screaming, nobody's upset. Everybody just says, that's okay. Just take your time and you wait your turn. There's nobody yelling at the cashier to hurry up or what's the hold up. You just don't see that here. So we take our cue from that, and we've been because when we come from a lifetime of that kind of living of high stress and fast pace, it does take some time to decompress. And
it's almost shocking at first when you're in one of those lines, whether it's at the grocery store or even a long car line, because our natural reaction is to be frustrated and they like, come on, we've got stuff to do, let's go. But you look around and nobody else has that reaction. So you kind of feel that, okay, well, there's nothing to do here. I just wait. Okay. And you start getting used to that new reaction. And that's how we are now.
It's easier on the heart.
Yeah.
Plus you're retired. Like, what do you have to go do?
Exactly.
It's like, I know a lot of retirees in America is like, we have to get from here to here. And I'm like, well, if you get delayed, get a hotel. Yeah. And where do you have to be?
Yeah. Yes. You have to remind yourself of that though, because it's been a lifetime of being one way and another. Now the second half of life is about exactly that. Like we'll fly there. If the flight's delayed, that's okay. We'll figure it out. And we don't have to be anywhere at any specific time.
And our goal is to live as long as possible and enjoying the best retirement as possible. So that is a big part of it, is reducing stress. Well, I think at times you would have the most stress before retirement. Monique and I have always been really good at handling that stress. We didn't bring our work home with us, but certainly now living here, there's no comparison to the stress level difference between North America and here. There's only as much stress as you want to make it living here on Madeira.
So what number would you give each one?
Before, yeah.
An 8?
Yeah, it's anywhere from 7 out of 8, I guess, 10 being the highest level of stress.
Yeah.
I would say 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there at times.
It would vary depending. Doug had a very high stress job as a homicide investigator. So we dealt with a lot of stress through murders. And I was a school administrator. So I was busy with stressful things with families and kids. Yeah. So we did have stress in our lives.
And here, maybe 1, 2, or 3. And those higher levels of 3 just come from, it's maybe sometimes a language barrier when we have to get something done and just trying to navigate the language a bit. But other than that, it's been fine.
Pretty low.
Yeah. And the driving, it's a very steep island. So you have to get used to the driving here. When you're used to somewhere flat, learning to navigate these curves and roundabouts on very steep hills, I think for the first 3 months was a little bit stressful.
Gave us a little stress.
But that goes away.
But an 8 down to a 1 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, folks, there you go. Yes, you can retire early, and you can retire early in paradise, and it's affordable. It's got great health care. It's extremely low crime. So, yeah, I mean, I think you've picked a winner. And so, thank you for being on the show. And why don't you take us out with your usual way you end your videos?
Well, I would like to thank you very much for having us. We love talking about this and encouraging other people. So as usual, check back in and
track us down.